Hi, welcome to my first YouTube video that isn't a live stream. This is a creative copy of my live streaming world. In this video, I'm going to be making a boathouse. I'm planning to rebuild this somehow on my survival world, possibly using some kind of overlay or just lots of pictures. I'm going to be using the same materials that I used on my starter house and the other house on the island for my pets. I'm just going to be using them in different ways. I'm planning on using oak logs and stripped spruce as beams for the boathouse, giving it structural support while letting it look weathered and used like it's been here for a little bit, and the water has decayed some of the wood. For the ground, I'm going to be using andesite, cobblestone, and tuff mixed together, making it look as if the ground is worn and has been used a lot. Something that can be stable for this house, but also would be used as a flooring in a regular building. While I'm building this, I'm trying to build mainly in 3s and 5s because that is the layout that I normally use. I find it's easier to center things like staircases and windows when building with 3s and 5s. Upwards, I go between 3 to 6 blocks. It doesn't matter as much, but my standard is normally approximately 5 blocks. It depends on where the base level is and other things like that. As you may be able to tell, the video recording is very sped up. This is because I recorded this probably 2 to 3 days ago and have now been working up the courage to put an audio track to this recording. I've been thinking about adding a mic to my live streams, but I haven't really been able to decide. So depending on how this video goes, is probably how it'll end up going on my live streams. There is about an hour and a half of footage, so I've sped it up substantially because I don't know what I'd say for over an hour when I can barely think of things to say for the 20 minutes that this video is. But anyways, I'd like to talk more about my live streams. I've been playing them completely live, trying to get the raw footage of what playing actually is, for me at least. I know for me it's a lot of standing there while I'm building, just looking at what I'm building, which is also why I have sped this video up quite a bit. I'm pretty sure the video itself is so long before I sped it up because half the time I just step back and stare at what I'm building, trying to figure out what I should do next and how to make it look a little bit better. I haven't been building for a very long time, but I do really enjoy it. Every once in a while I open up a creative world and just put some blocks together and try to make something that looks cool. The last time I did that was a couple weeks ago and I ended up building a small little house using some of the shapes like this. I really enjoy doing inlays and making the walls look like they have a lot more dimension. I know that this video isn't actually 20 minutes, but when you're just sitting here talking, it feels like it's a lot longer than it actually is. To make up for the time that I'm sitting here while I'm playing Minecraft, destroying and placing blocks and destroying them and placing them, trying to figure out the actual layout of what I want the base to be, because that's the hardest part for me is figuring out the spacing, and especially when I'm using inlays for the walls, it's really hard to know what size I should be making the outline. When I get further along in the building process, I stop destroying things a lot more. When I'm at the point where I'm doing walls and I'm getting to detail, that's the part I enjoy the most, is adding the arches and doorways and adding different kinds of windows. All things, obviously, you're not seeing yet because we're not there yet, but I promise that it will come eventually, even if it takes quite a bit. Like I said before, I'm playing this as a live stream. I don't like editing, which is why I have sped this video up instead of going around and editing it, because that just seemed a lot easier. And plus, then you get to see my wacky way of sifting through builds and trying to figure out what I like and what I don't like. and probably the approximate half hour that I just sit there and stare at it thinking, is this good or is this not good? Playing live has really been a challenge for me because that is what I do a lot of the time is I step back and I stare. So on my main house that I'm living in right now, I tried to rush myself through it and really push myself and say, I can't step back and just stare at this. I gotta have some kind of idea of what I want and just go for it. Which, when I started building, I had no idea what I was doing. I just decided, well, let's do this, and if it's terrible, it's really terrible, and I hope no one judges me. But luckily for me, no one really has been watching. There's probably a solid 10 people that have viewed it, and I don't know if those are actual views or the same person watching them a couple times in different places, but either way, I'm very appreciative for your watching. Hopefully more people will start watching, but I don't know if that's gonna happen, and I'm totally okay with that. This is mainly just something for me to be able to look back on and say, wow, look at how much I've changed, look at how much better I'm doing at building and playing. Because I'm terrible at using bows and swords and staying alive while trying to mine, as you could probably see if you've watched my live streams. I have died from creepers too many times, more times than I'd like to admit. Which is why a big goal for me for this world is to try to defeat the Ender Dragon. That is something I have never done playing by myself. I've had this game for probably 12 years? 13 years? I got it when I was very young. I'm trying to do quick math and it is not working. I've had this game since I was probably 10. The math isn't mathing. I I can't even think that far ahead when I'm trying to talk and think at the same time. But that is my goal, is defeating the Ender Dragon, maybe the Wither. I know I've used the cave technique for defeating the Wither before, but I'd really like to try it in some kind of open area. Maybe, but that does seem a little bit too dangerous. We are officially halfway through, so go me. I have talked for a solid 7 minutes and I'm only shaking a little bit. I say that as something funny because speaking to people is not something I'm good at. I am not a talker or someone who can sit in a conversation. When I go out with people, I normally just sit there and listen as the other people talk and I nod along and say, wow, that's interesting, if I say anything at all. So, if I'm going to be live streaming, I don't really know if I'm going to be talking all that much. There's probably going to be a lot of silence until my brain goes, oh, hey, by the way, you're live streaming. But, anyways, back to this little building that I'm making. As you can see right now, I'm adding the roof. This is something I am not very good at. I try, and for some reason, roofs just always hurt my brain. I always try to make them even and look like they have a shape, but it seems like the shape never really lines up. Which is why I'm happy that I got to do this roof in creative, because I could delete it and place it and fly and look. As I said, I go back and I look at it. Going back to look at it is the best way that I can actually see the shape and sit there and think, wow, does this look good or does this not make any sense at all? Normally, it's not make any sense at all because I struggle a lot with roofs, as you can tell looking at this. I sit there and I break a block and I go back and I continue that process. I don't know why it is so difficult for me, but that is something that I hope to improve on. While I'm doing this roof, you can kind of see on the base of the building that I have added some arches around the doorways. I feel like this makes it look like the building is more supported and like there's something holding the upper level up, as logs wouldn't just be floating there. They would have something holding them up and supporting them. This roof has a dark oak trim and then is filled in with spruce. I think that that gives the roof a little bit more, not dimension, but something to look at that isn't just so plain. Adding a trim just gives the house something that I just can't explain. It's just a nice little building technique, and I don't know where I picked it up from. Most likely one of my hundreds of other worlds that I've had. I am one of those people that plays for what seems like 2 weeks and then jumps to another world. I know there's a very large trend going around of my forever world and my hardcore world and that kind of thing, so I thought it would just be fun to try and keep myself accountable using YouTube and actually stay on one world for a little bit. So maybe this will be my forever world, or maybe it's just going to be another world that somehow gets thrown into the back pocket and is never seen again. Let's hope that that doesn't happen because I am starting to really enjoy this world. All of the little details of going to the village and making a separate house for them to keep them safe before I can start building things there and adventuring, trying to find different wolves and cat variants and different trees and finding wandering traders and getting my saplings that way because I feel like I've explored a decent chunk of this world, even though I can't remember which way I'm going every time, but I still feel like I've explored a decent bit. I am not finding new biomes, but I'm sure that we will definitely be able to find these biomes and get some new pets and some new animals and probably bring them all home. Especially frogs is what I'm really excited to get next. That's definitely going to be a goal because I just love them and all the different color variants that you can get. Right now, I'm adding some trimming to the inside of the roof, trying to fill in that small gap of different colors from the woods and the calcite, and adding some supporting beams holding up the beam in the middle. Normally, I would have added a window there, but it just didn't seem quite right to have a window there without anything supporting the roof. Now comes the challenging part. I am terrible at towers. I have never been able to put roofs on towers, and I have no idea why. So bear with me as I attempt to make this tower roof look pointed, but also like a regular domed roof. I have no idea why I've always struggled so much with this, but for some reason this one turned out kind of okay. As you're looking at it, you're probably saying, that looks terrible. I have no idea what you're talking about saying it looks okay, but this is one of the best ones I've done, so a little clap clap for me on that. Now I'm just going around and adding in the final bits of detailing, those stairs that I missed, the trapdoors that I missed, and some supporting elements for the roof. I added this to my starter house as well. I really love how it follows the arches that I added on the other floors and gives it a more seamless look. As I'm finishing up, I'm going to be putting on lanterns and finding those little places where I missed my stairs and my trapdoors, trying to make this all fit together perfectly. As we are now getting to the very end of the video and you made it this far, thank you. This is the first video I've ever made, ever added audio to, ever done anything like that. It is very new to me and a little bit challenging, but hopefully I'm excited to keep doing this. If you liked the video, please like and comment, subscribe. I don't know how normal YouTubers do that, but I am definitely not normal. So if you did enjoy, just let me know somehow. Tell me what I could do better or what you think could be changed. I would love some input from you. Anyways, I hope you have an amazing day or night, and thank you for watching.